there's usually this thing that happens that after, say, 10 years, someone else brings it up again and say, wasn't it the one that did this to Cassie? And everyone actually forgets that there was a consensus that it was. The Diddy case, there's been crazy traction in the last week. I know everyone has seen it. So they basically started the trial. Like the whole last week, there's been the positions from both sides, talking to Cassie and some other people. Now, for me, what's most interesting are the things that are coming out of Cassie's deposition. Right? So basically, Cassie has been put on the stand and she has been asked to comment on some of the text messages and some of the occurrences between her and Diddy. There's so many things that are interesting there, but I think if I would summarize it, it was that she really loved Diddy. She also really enjoyed the freak-offs. It seems like many of the things that happened between them, she was sane and make certain choices and certain decisions, right? She was intentional about it. The reason it's interesting for us to discuss, yeah, when we say that, it would be like, okay, cool, now we know what's happening. What's the next thing that you want to hold Diddy on, and let's see if he's guilty or not. But what's most interesting about it is that the commentary about these new findings has been quite split. There have been people that are like, okay, she's an adult, she made decisions, she enjoyed what she did with Diddy. There's no case of whether it's rape or whether it's she was coerced into doing certain things. There's no case on that bit. There might be case on some other things, but not that one. And there have been other people that have been like, shut the fuck up. If you have ever been sexually assaulted or something, you would know that there can be love between the victim and the perpetrator. You would know that over the course of a long time, someone might be in a particular situation, even if they had the choice to leave. The fact that they decide not to leave could still be the fault of the perpetrator, right? And not the person that made their decision and choices. What are your thoughts about this?
Thanks for structuring it like that, because in my head, everything just seems everywhere. I feel like that kind of sums it up into the two sides that we have, right, in this particular case. The first part, I feel like for sure, I'm definitely leaning towards that side where you would assume that these are two consenting adults that are going off their freak offs and doing whatever they want. Somehow, we've seen the positive things that came out of Cassie's relationship with Diddy, right? The life and everything, the goodies. But she somehow wants to remove or detach herself from any sort of negativity or some shady things that they did together and have zero accountability for that. And so I'm leaning towards that side, yeah, for sure. There isn't a lot, at least from what we've seen so far, that is really showing that Cassie is completely innocent. The other side is where I find problematic. Yeah, it really riles me up every time that I think about it. Talking about, yeah, you haven't been essayed. If you have, you know how psychological or... So what does that really mean? I understand that. I'm not trying to act like maybe, yeah, I fully understand what that means. But then for society, what does it really mean? So if you're an adult, you participated in some activities, and somehow, even though you could have gotten out, you decided not to. How is that supposed to stand in law, in society, or how do we move from that?
I think it will be very difficult for us to be able to build a society around that, because that can be weaponized, right?
Exactly.
Someone can say, I had a great time now, and then wake up tomorrow, you know what, that guy for one reason or the other, and retract whatever the idea that we had a great time and say something went wrong there, and that should still hold. Now, according to the law, this is not usually something that holds, because I've read some cases where, after claiming that they have been essayed, the timing, certain things that happened after and before, the legal system was able to reach the conclusion it's not proven beyond reasonable doubt that what happened was sexual assault. So I think in most cases, what's usually happening is the public will have their opinion and go off and off, just like is happening now with Diddy. And the court of law will still acquit him because it's just not
strong enough.
Yeah, exactly. It's not proven beyond reasonable doubt. And when that happens, there's now again backlash from the population, from the people, saying, "Oh, but it was so clear. Yeah, she was psychologically traumatized. Yeah, it could have still happened." And this is how, even though they get out of the legal system acquitted in those kind of situations, reputational damage, they're still unable to come back from it.
For sure. For sure.
And that's a big issue.
Is it 50 Cent? Yeah, I think it's 50 Cent. His argument now is that somehow Diddy got involved with some powerful people. I would say like Kanye's town. This is like invisible hands, right? And they just want to show him like who is in charge. Like you've said, I'm also leaning towards like that for sure. He might get out of this situation and not be like guilty of most of these charges because it's not looking like the case is strong enough. But then his reputation is something then they would have to fight for the rest of his life. It's ruined right now. It's like zero.
I think it's so unfortunate that even if there's a consensus at the end that, okay, maybe he was not guilty of this coercion or something that they said he did to Cassie, even if there's a consensus that he was not guilty,
and I feel like for Diddy, it's also really terrible. That's his doing, right? I feel like what really made like his case is that video, the footage that came out in beating Cassie. That really messed his case up because that's like the strongest thing everyone saw and are emotional about, and they are transferring that for sure if he did this, it could do every other bad things that is doable to human.